Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to End Times Talk. I hope you're all having a good day. It's a beautiful day out here today where I'm at. So I noticed a post um, on social media, and it kind of just sent me down the rabbit hole. And there's some concepts that we've been talking about on the channel for quite some time, and I wanted to look into things a little deeper than what I have in the past. And what I found is just pretty pretty wild, pertaining to future government control over the people of the world. And I don't know what crisis is going to get us there. It could probably be something extremely abrupt. It could be a cyber attack. It could be you know uh, missiles being launched, maybe shot down, but missiles being launched, or civil unrest. It could be the whole. Uh, it seems that there's an uptick in violence with Antifa and these protesters that are out there getting buck wild on stuff, and something's gonna take us to that Agenda 2030 threshold. We know this. These are the facts. I mean, they've been saying for a long time that they're going to do this, and because of what I saw in the year 2021, and if you match that up with Agenda 21, I don't think Agenda 2030 is that impossible for them to bring about. And they're kind of like being haughty and proud about it. Like, these are the predictions for the year 2030. The World Economic Forum has come out with a video. I could show it. I have it. But unless people, I think people have seen it enough on this channel. But there's these different core values that they want to into society, about the future, and one of those being, that the U.S. won't be a superpower anymore, and that what another one is Western, civilization is going to be tested to the breaking point. They're saying, and they're saying that you're going to own nothing, you're going to have nothing, and you're going to like it. They say they want you to eat bug protein instead of meat. And they just obviously released all these ticks with the, in possible alpha gal, um, and that stuff that makes you allergic to red meat. It's just, it seems like phase after phase after phase, they're gradually working us towards this tyrannical future where, I mean, I'm talking, you thought the pandemic lockdown was bad. And I mean, just wait until you see what everyday average life will be like in the future. And I kind of want to talk about that today. And I believe, because of what I'm finding today, that this future isn't so far off. And again, Rahm Emanuel, that used to work for the Obama administration, he said, never let a good crisis go to waste. And regardless of whether this virus is real, or this situation is real, or this bit of news is real or not, because I mean, I tend to think that Ebola is spreading, and there's some people that don't believe that it is right now. I tend to believe that AI is getting really really good at making things look good when it's not even real. Like, I've seen AI admit it can't tell the difference sometimes anymore, and because AI is so advanced now. And so there's a circulating video where a woman, and she doesn't live there permanently, she's visiting the DRC, and there's a video out there where this woman is saying that there is no Ebola outbreak and all this stuff. And and it was also strange that I watched the numbers of Ebola that were spiking just completely drop, like cut in half in one day. And there was a person, pretty respected source, reporting this over on X, and I watched people getting pretty upset. Like, bro, you were reporting twice the numbers the other day, and then now it's half that. And so I don't know if there's a cover up. I don't know if things are spreading. I don't know if they just want people to let their guard down, because that is possible. But all I know is, and this is what I try to stress, and I look at the different avenues that could take us there, and there could be ones that we don't see coming yet, and we always have to take that into account. But I'm looking at what is, excuse me, what is going to take us to that final road that we're going to go down, where we see the, and I'm not saying that Christians are going to see this. I believe in a pre-tribulation rapture myself, but I'm talking about the ones that are left behind, the ones that people that are here for the great tribulation. The beast system is not far from rolling out. And again, they need a global crisis now. They don't just need a national crisis. They don't just need a little bit of an international crisis. They need a full-blown global crisis, because they need that full destabilization. I don't know if it's going to be violence from one religious thing to the next, like where radical Islam uprises and all these sleeper cells arise, or they have some mass terror attack planned, or this or that. There's a lot of avenues that could take us here, but regardless of that, it's what comes next that is the real big picture that we're kind of looking at here more than anything. And we're just kind of being good watchmen and paying attention and being on guard and warning the world as things progress forward. Now, I'm going to play this clip from Trump about the drone port that he is building on top of the new White House ballroom. I'm going to let this just play out.
Over here. And again, this is taken, these great classical buildings, they're taken out of different parts of the world from very glamorous times. This is Rome. They like the flat roof. Greece likes they call it the triangles, and you see that. This is a porch that looks out over the city. Also, it's developed in such a way that we can have military there, but the entire roof is developed for military. They're very high. They're higher than just about anything else. They have a 360-degree vision of Washington, D.C. They have a massive drone capacity. Not only is it drone-proof, if a drone hits it,
He says they have a massive drone capacity, and that the area of the new ballroom is drone-proof.
Bounces off, it won't have any impact. But it's also meant as a drone port, so it protects all of Washington, the roof of the building. Okay? Now,
so a drone port on top of the White House, and I mean, it being the area where, the leader of America, is most of the time. I can kind of understand that, okay? But, it goes a lot further than that. And I'm going to get into that here in just a moment. But I want to show this real quick, because I come across this while I was, kind of just digging into things and looking around. And China had come out with a mosquito-sized drone, and they're saying that this thing can secretly spy anywhere. And this isn't AI. This is a real thing. All right, and I'm gonna play this for you here. Hold on one moment.
China has revealed.
I'm gonna turn the volume off because I don't know if that's a copyrighted song. But China reveals mosquito-sized drone that can secretly spy anywhere, sparking global fear and curiosity. That's what they're reporting. But this thing is insane. And so I can't believe that we've come this far to where on the tip of your finger, that's the tip of someone's finger. That's so small. That's like a nano drone, honestly, if you ask me. And so the drone technology is just out of this world. And I notice that, again, and I'm going to cover this here in a moment because I have things organized a certain way and I'm trying to flow with it here. I'm doing the best I can, but I got to kind of break in with a couple of things here because of the way I have it set up. But I noticed that Oakland County in Michigan had made it to where it's legal for them to police using drones. And there's other places as well, and I'm going to talk about that here in a moment. It's expanding really fast. But hold on, I'm going to show this screen here. I thought this was interesting. They're talking about military traffic control points, and this is a military website. It's like, this is like a definition of traffic and military vehicle checkpoints, because I want to talk about how they're going to set up this grid. Like it's very well known that in the United States, that when martial law is enacted, or could it even be an insurrection act? You know, I think it's a lot of the same stuff is enacted when these things take place. But they have it to where when martial law is enacted, that all highways, freeways, and interstates are can be used by the U.S. military and like government personnel or federal personnel. I believe that they're going to federalize police if they haven't already. I have to check in on that. I haven't looked into that for a while. I haven't heard news, but so it can only be used by the people that are we'll just say the overlords, right? And so I was looking into vehicle checkpoints, and because I really want to break this down, and I found some insane stuff that I think you're going to want to know. And they're saying that traffic and military vehicle checkpoints defines as locations where military police control the traffic, obviously, but it is not just about telling drivers where to go and ensuring orderly flow. Soldiers and warfighters must maintain situational awareness during searches and in case of militant attacks. A TCP can go by various different titles: vehicle checkpoint, random checkpoint, roadblocks, and other names, maybe like a roundabout. We're going to get that. We're going to get into the roundabouts here in a moment because I got something wild to show you. They are established at specific areas on roads to direct and monitor the movement of vehicles and individuals. Vehicles must stop at the Army TCP and will receive varying degrees of consequences if they do not. If there is a threat to you, your squad, or others in the area, deadly force is authorized, is what they're saying. Deadly force is authorized. So if you think that when you being an American citizen and, oh, look at me, I'm an American, nothing bad can happen to me, I've had it great for so long, and some event takes place and you think you're going to just drive around a checkpoint and just move through, think again. Think again. All right. Now here's an example, and I know that this is in China, but what's funny is this is a really old article, and it leads me to believe that America has followed after China in the idea of roundabouts. Now, there is this thing, Beijing after Tiananmen. I'm not going to say that again. I'm just going to skip over it. Life under martial law. So this was in 1989. All right, I'm pointing something out here. Some actual facts where they used, all right, a roundabout as a checkpoint. It says right here, we could be stopped and searched at any time. Tanks took up residence, and I've always said there will be a tank sitting there with the barrel pointed at you. It says tanks took up residence on the roundabouts. Look at that. On the roundabouts. Tanks took residence on the roundabouts. So that shows that in the past, back in the 80s, back in 89, they used tanks on roundabouts at the main intersections of this road and beyond. And so it's proof that they plan to use them as checkpoints. Now, let's get into this more. All right. Hold on one second. I got to share screen here. Here's a PDF. All right. That is called, let's see what this is called here. Traffic and Safety Engineering for Better Entry Control Facilities. U.S. Army Military Surface Deployment and Distribution Command, Transportation Energy Agency. All right, so this is from the U.S. military. Ready? So right here, it brings up roundabouts. Right here, traffic, engineering, and safety seminars. There's a whole subject on roundabouts. Then more roundabouts are brought up here. Roundabouts are brought up again 16 times. 16 times in this document. It says, though roundabouts can be aesthetically pleasing, they are costly to construct. However, the improvement made provide an effective benefit to cost ratio due to the minimal cost to maintain when compared to the operation and maintenance cost of a signalized intersection. And it goes into just, that they're expensive, but they're supposed to be better. All right. But then you go further into it, and I got other documents to show you here in a moment, but you get further into it and it starts talking about how what they can be, that they can be used as a choke point. All right. And it talks about, the placement of those and everything. So I'm going to go to the next document here. This one's a little bit more in your face. So this one's called ECF Speed Reduction Measures. ECF stands for Entry Control Facilities. Serve as an installation access points presenting unique security, safety, and traffic flow challenges. So if this would be implemented in all sorts of different cases, crises, just whatever they would need the military for, whatever, to control the flow of traffic, but also for martial law. Now, we find out here, a roundabout can significantly reduce vehicle speeds, often limiting them to around 25 miles per hour due to the roadway curvature. When crashes do occur, they are typically low-impact side-swipe collisions due to its circular design, unlike traditional intersections, which are more prone to severe T-bone crashes. This combination of reduced speeds and simplified traffic movements offer notable safety advantage. Volume thresholds must be accounted for when considering a roundabout. When traffic volumes are too high or not evenly distributed, roundabouts are not effective. There you go. This occurs due to a combination of slower speeds and intersecting traffic volumes. So it's debatable whether they're even worth it or not to have. All right. But check this out, right? If you go down here, it shows you a picture of a military checkpoint and how it will be used in conjunction with a roundabout. It's right there in your face on this picture. This is a built military checkpoint for the future, what they have planned. All right. And this is a roundabout being a choke point. And then you roundabout and then you enter. And then here's the checkpoint. And then you exit. And there probably is another roundabout. And they actually have two roundabouts. So it connects a three-way and it comes to a two-way. So it slows it down more and more, bringing it to the checkpoint. You see what I'm saying? This is from the military, the U.S. Army's own words, that they are going to use roundabouts as military checkpoints. And so they can easily pave a road real quick. They can easily put in a temporary road off an offshoot of one of the roundabouts and close other parts of the roundabout to funnel you into this. They can put up cement barricades and funnel you into this thing. And you're driving along, you're going from one city to the next because something's going on. And March, well, there's a roundabout, and then there's a checkpoint. And, you know what I mean? And you tell your family, well, we got to go through this, can't turn around. You get bottlenecked into this. You see what I'm saying? You're getting checked no matter what. And when we can, apply this to the Great Tribulation and the search for, say, Christians that are actually, like in the Bible, we're told that they're going to be hunted, those that are left behind that come to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, realizing that Christianity was real the whole entire time, those people will be hunted. And the Bible foretells that. And so it just goes to prove exactly how bad this is. And right here, it goes into roadway narrowing and the different barricades and things like that you can use. And I mean, it goes through a lot of information in this about these checkpoints. But you see, the ultimate goal is right here. There's not too much after it right here, is to use the roundabouts. This is the end of the document right here. And the roundabouts are one of the last things mentioned. You see what I'm saying? So, hold on. I'm going to go to this next one here. In this document right here, Better Military Traffic Engineering. This is from 2016, the Military Surface Deployment and Distribution Command, Transportation Engineering Agency. In this document right here alone, okay, I kid you not, and I'll just scan through it. All right, you have literally 107 mentions in this document. That is, how many pages is it? It's 556 pages. That is thick, man. That is thick. It mentions it 107 times. There's a whole chapter, chapter 10, roundabouts. Roundabouts versus traffic. Advantages of roundabouts. Design considerations. Geometric design basics. All right, so there's other stuff in this, obviously, where, you know, they're just kind of talking about how to be safe and all that stuff. I get that. But there's that underlying tone of these being military checkpoints. So what I'm trying to say is that you live in your area. You know where these checkpoints are at. At least you already have a basic map of where checkpoints will be. And you know what road not to go down. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say. And in this, hold on one second. Intersection traffic control, and then you got roundabouts. I mean, it goes through quite a bit. This is all, everything I'm clicking through is all roundabouts. You can pause it and read it. It mentions it tons and tons of times. And you can see here where there are roundabouts in this picture right here. There's 3 of them, all in one area. And all this is about roundabouts. It's just wild. There's actually quite a bit on it. Everything it's highlighting is all on roundabouts. And I'm not going to sit here and read all this. There's just no way, but I'm trying to click through it and kind of show you that this is the plan, Stan. You see, they got pictures of it. And they even talk about the driver's view. Driver's view right here when approaching the roundabout entry point. They don't want you to see what's on the other side of it. Even and it's kind of like how these should be built as well. And don't think the military can't pave a road. Don't think they don't have that in their arsenal of possibilities to do. They can absolutely build a road. They could build one of these just on the spot. Using roundabouts or mini roundabouts to provided, needed, or desired access. Corridor access management. You see that right there? Corridor access management. I wonder what corridor you're going to have to live in when the 15-minute cities come to town. Just got a couple more here. Access management. They're going to manage your access. You see that right here? Access management. I mean, I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but it's right there in your face. Now, again, the highways, interstates, freeways, all that stuff are government property once martial law or like something like that all gets enacted. All right. And right here, hold on one second. You can see here for the first time in U.S. history, back in 2022, they landed a airplane on a U.S. highway. It says here, Augur County, Michigan, a 9,000-foot section of M28 in the Upper Peninsula played host to a history combat training exercise on Wednesday, June 29th. Was this recently? No, this is 2022. But they also did this in downstate Michigan as well. There's multiple locations where they have landed U.S. military aircraft. Now, people say, well, you got to be able to land in case of an emergency. No, I'm talking troop deployment. I'm talking the way that the highways have been designed. There are air landing strips everywhere, so that way they can disperse and deploy whatever troops, whether U.S. or the blue helmets or whatever, are going to be patrolling. They can get them into position really quickly, actually. And so this shows them literally just landing in, Michigan and then taking off again. So I'm just trying to give you an idea here. Now, if you think that's the only place, hold on a second here. In Casper, Wyoming, all right, you had a highway that turned a runway for the U.S. Air Force in 2023 on May 3rd. So, again, they flew in one of these big old birds and they landed on a highway in Wyoming. They are practicing getting troops into position. So what it kind of looks like to me is that's part of the plan, is how are we going to disperse the troops, no matter what country they're from, into key positions so they can set up checkpoints. And how fast can that be done? I'll tell you right now, and I can't remember specifics, but I'm pretty sure that the sheriff in Chicago, a certain area of Chicago or whatever, a county or whatever, said that he could have Chicago shut down in like it wasn't like 7 or 9 minutes. I don't know, something like that. Just minutes flat. Just a few minutes, less than 20 minutes, he could have Chicago shut down. And so when they want to do something, they're going to do it. Remember when LA got cleaned up? Remember when there was all these, different, homeless people all over the place out in California? And then remember when Xi Jinping came to town and was going to go all over LA and look around and all that stuff. And you literally heard Gavin Newsom say, yeah, we cleaned it up. Absolutely, we cleaned it up because he was visiting town. Like, they even just outright admitted it. And so, I got a friend that lives in Wyoming, and I think I got to send him this article later on. But my point is that they're drilling for this stuff. Now hold on a second here. I'm going to play this, and this is just kind of more talking about how in Oakland County, Michigan, they're going to have drones, but that's not the only place that is going to be doing this. This is CBS News Detroit, by the way. CBS News Detroit reported this not that long ago.
Tonight, the Oakland County Board of Commissioners is voting on a 9-month pilot program proposed so that the sheriff's office could use drones just like this one when responding to 911 calls.
We understand the privacy concerns people talk about, but we've already addressed all those.
Okay, so we don't want to talk about it anymore because, you know, we're doing this with or without your permission is basically like what this scum liquor is saying. That's the way I kind of take it. It's like, we don't really care about your concern. We've addressed those.
You can go to our webpage right now and look at every DFR flight we've flown, where it went, how it came back, what the call was for.
This county is sending cameras out to watch people who are not involved with or charged with a crime. We don't want to be watched.
With this vote, we invite the infrastructure of mass surveillance. The very idea is an appalling invasion of our privacy and our civil liberties, and it is the exact opposite of public safety.
Oakland County commissioners who voted for this are either unbelievably trusting and naive to believe Flack's promises, or you're simply jumping on board the freight train that's hurtling towards the breakdown of democracy.
So it's Flock. That's the company that's behind that specifically. But I'm going to show you this now. Hold on 1 second. And thank you, Joppy and John, for moderating for me. I appreciate it, guys. You guys do an awesome job. I'm going to show you guys this, though. 2 St. Charles County Police Departments on the verge of launching new drone response. And this is St. Louis Public Radio, St. Louis, Missouri. 2 police departments in St. Charles County will be among the first in Missouri to deploy new drone technology. First responder drones will be docked on the roof of local buildings. When launched, they can arrive on an emergency scene in seconds and provide video feeds of the situation to dispatchers or responding officers. I'm sorry, people, do you see where this is going? I know I got some smart listeners. I know I got smart subscribers. But I'm going to tell you right now, oh, man, dude, I got the goosebumps right now, man. They coming, dude. They are coming for us, man. Whether you think so or not, they're stinking coming. I'm telling you, Tommy knockers be knocking at the door, dude. Like these strangelings that run this crap in this world, this evil world, man, they're closing in the walls like the trash compactor on Star Wars, man. It's closing in around us, dude. I'm telling you. And this is how they get you. They box you in. They box you in. The only way out of this now is get outside of this box and think about how you do that, and you have your answer probably to having a more peaceful life. But I'm telling you, if you are in this box that is slowly closing in around you, mark my words, man, it's not going to be easy coming out on the other side of this thing. It is not easy what's coming out on the other side of this thing. And I'm just showing this next article here because I want to keep moving forward. Again, with Missouri, police drones could soon respond to crime scenes in St. Louis. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Hanging out, charging on local buildings. The St. Louis Police Department is proposing a drones as first responders program. But this was a while ago. This was this wasn't a while ago. This was just a couple of days ago, I meant. On May 26th this year, just a few days ago. They're talking about drones in St. Louis, Missouri, flying around, first responding. And you know, if the police want to use it for nefarious purposes, they can. And so, like, look at how the drone is protected. It has these 2 sides that slide in over it, protect it like a dome. And these things open up and zoom, that drone comes up off that ground, or, you know, this is like the launch pad for it. I mean, that's insane. So it's protected. Like, if people want to, I mean, dude, I'll be honest with you. All right. In Europe, people cut down 5G towers. Why aren't Americans doing this? I know that's probably like not the greatest thing to say. I don't really care. I mean, I literally see people with Sawzalls and all sorts of nonsense going out there and cutting down 5G towers. Kudos to y'all. Kudos to y'all, man. And so, but like there's these, street lights that are 5G and all this stuff. Like, dude, they have been building this system up for a long time. The 5G towers It's not 5G towers. They're just towers because they can be upgraded. And you even heard Trump the other day saying that, we have 6G now, and that 6G can see under your skin. That's literally what Trump said. The technology and the quantum computing, and I'm telling you, whether you want to believe me or not, the military already has 7G. I promise. I've proved it on this channel multiple times, right? I'm telling you, society as you once knew it is gone. It's gone. Welcome to Skynet. The Terminator movies were not a film. They were a documentary about what society is going to be like in the future. I don't know about, time travel or none of that. I mean, you'd have to really convince me on that that's possible. And please don't email me and try to convince me of time travel. I'm not on board with it yet. That's for sure. But what I'm saying is that everything else pertaining to those Terminator movies seems to be playing out. And remember, the nukes fly. The nukes fly. And we're not going to get into that, when the bombs come down, we go up nonsense, okay? But, nukes, because nukes flew already once. So we didn't go up when Nagasaki and Hiroshima got hit, all right? So people can't say when the bombs come down, we go up, because they already came down once, all right? And they're reigning in Israel. They're reigning in the Gaza, Lebanon, Iran. You know what I mean? And I start to wonder, is it a matter of time before things start popping up in America like that? When is someone going to take a swipe at America eventually? Because Iran finally took a swipe at Israel. Watched them do it. You remember that? We didn't think eventually it would get to that, to where they're just trading blows back and forth, but it happened. And so we don't know when, what, where, why, and how, but we know that the promises of God are true, and we know that He is a king of His word. You know what I mean? And that God is not a liar. So what the Word of God says is going to happen is going to happen, and the Word of God tells me things ain't going to be easy up to the pre-tribulation rapture, but we know that it's coming. So there is that hope in there, but there's just a lot of this stuff going on. Now, as for other areas and states that are getting ready to launch these programs, and I'm not going to sit here and show you page after page after page after page of proof that these, but I'm just going to give you a list here. California, Lancaster, and Victorville, Lancaster PD launched a DFR program in March 2026. It's already launched in Lancaster, in California. They're already flying drones. Victorville, which is San Bernardino County, deployed DFR with Brink in early 2026. Again, there they are. They're already active in California. The LAPD has major expansion of DFR pilot, thousands of flights in 2025. And the ongoing scaling, they're scaling up their drone. So they know that this works. You know what I mean? For them. They know. That's why it's being implemented. They know that this works. They know that they can do it now. So now that we get it implemented a little bit, then they keep stepping in more. You know how like when the police, and I'm not anti-police, but you know how like they knock on your door, and if you don't come outside and shut your door behind you, they can put their foot in your door, and as soon as that happens, they have right to enter your home no matter what. As soon as you open your door, that's your biggest mistake right there. Your biggest mistake is to even open the door. Talk to them through the screen door. If they got a warrant, they'll come in. And if they don't have a warrant, then, adios, amigo. All right? But San Francisco PD is actively scaling, getting bigger, DFR with hundreds of monthly flights. Hundreds. That means multiple a day. All right? Fairfax County Police in Virginia launched a DFR program recently in early 2026 with drones responding in 90 seconds. Rapid results reported. Now, I've had, I believe, police drones over my property. I ain't even going to lie to you. All right? I believe I had police drones over my property. And they also use the little planes as spotters and things like that. They do pay the small, but this is a whole nother concept. This puts a technology in their hands that is absolutely tyrannical. You know, what's to keep them from flying around at night and like kind of spying on people and stuff? Like, there's an abuse of power that can happen here. In Texas, North Richland Hills has a DFR program that's launching soon this month in 2026. Yeah, so it must have already, or it might be being delayed until June. Arlington Police Department expanded their DFR program to more calls in different types being responded to by drone. Hamilton County in Indiana plans to expand their county-wide DFR program this year. South Carolina, Somerville, Greenville areas have early DFR implementations. And Maryland, Montgomery County is ongoing, I guess. They've had their DFR program since 2023, with other people in the area considering. So there's hundreds of new and expanded DFR programs that are emerging after the FAA changes, with companies like Flock Safety and Brink and Skydio commonly involved. Many focus on critical infrastructure, data centers. They're using these to police data centers. And I got wild stuff to tell you here in a second. Or high call volume areas. And I guess privacy concerns are often arising during the approvals. So, I mean, this is an expanding project, and it seems that it's becoming national. Hold on, let me get a drink here. It seems that it's becoming national and spreading all over the place. And if I didn't cover your area and you know of a drone program in your area that is supposed to start policing your area, please email me. Like, don't be shy. I'm a really nice person. Just email me. I'd like to know how far this stretches. I think it's really important to know this. Anyways, now the drones they're saying are going to also be used to police these data centers. And I started to look into how many data centers there actually are and that have planned. And so it goes by different companies and things like that. So there's cleanview.co, that's a tracker. They're saying that there's 612 operating data centers. And then there's 937 planned data center projects. Now listen to this. Axios American Edge Project, Axios, which is with the American Edge Project, all right, they're saying that there's supposed to be 3,000 planned data centers. Listen to this, new data centers, 3,000, but they're saying that that's on top of 4,000 data centers that are already operational. And I can even just show you this real quick. Hold on a second. Right here. And then you see the states with the most data centers as well. This is currently operational, and this is under construction or planned. All right. Right here, nearly 3,000 new, because I can't read the whole article. It wants me to subscribe. But right here, nearly 3,000 new data centers are under construction or planned across the U.S. per a new analysis shared first with Axios, adding more than 4,000. Adding to the more than 4,000 already in operation. This is a massive scale of data centers that are coming and that are here. I'll be honest with you, this is a huge problem. A huge problem. And there's all this data center backlash that is trending online now. I mean, you know, you better fight for your right and for your existence to live a happy and healthy life. if you got a data center coming in near you, you better get political and get active, and because people have stopped them from coming into town. People have stopped them from coming into town. Now, with that being said, I mean, it's just blowing up. Now, listen to this. This is insane here. Data centers deploy $175,000 robot dogs for security, and the companies are saying they're worth it. Data centers need round-the-clock security, and some operators are turning to man's best robotic friend. Companies like Boston Dynamics and Ghost Robotics are selling robotic dogs that protect the area and inspect equipment and sniff out issues before they become costly outages. Right there, people. And not to mention, in the private sector, how many robot dogs are being deployed all across the globe. All across the globe. There's private businesses that are using robot dogs for security instead. And I'm telling you, these things are able to be upgraded to being fully capable of using weaponry of many different types. All right, so data centers are deploying robot dogs for security. And here's another article just to kind of solidify it. Robot dogs are protecting data centers. Operators are seeing payoffs. This is this year, March 2026. Just a couple of months ago. I was literally at a data center this week. Mary Frayne, Senior Director of Product Management at Boston Dynamics, the marker of Spot, told Business Insider, we've seen a huge uptick in interest from data centers in the last year, I'd say, which is probably not surprising given the investment in that space. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, this is some Terminator, iRobot crazy stuff, if you ask me. And Ghost Robotics offers a military-grade version, conquer any terrain, and eliminate all risk, is what it says. Eliminate all risk. Right here. And these things can have guns on them, machine guns, all sorts of stuff. Flamethrowers we've seen. I've shown you videos with flamethrowers on them. And in that new TV show, War of the Worlds, it's like the European version that they come out with. There's 2 seasons. It's actually a really good show. And I suggest if you can find the War of the Worlds, that it's got like 2 or 3 seasons. And it starts with an electromagnetic pulse. So that way you know you got the right one. Because there's a few different War of the Worlds shows out there. They have the aliens use robot dogs. And it's very significant because they're really actually just giving you imagery of robot dogs patrolling and killing people. Right? And so this is all set up and ready to go. And here's another article. The robot dog is on patrol and it's just getting started. April 2026. Man's new best friend. So this is obviously becoming a thing. And it's obvious that they're setting up a grid that can be fully controlled on multiple fronts, multiple levels. I don't know what is about to happen. I don't know what it's going to be. I will not say I think it's this or I think it's that. I think there's a lot of different avenues to look at that could lead us there, or it could be some abrupt event like a cyber attack out of nowhere, or something that takes us into this phase. They got something planned, and usually the things that are talked about most don't happen. But usually the things that happen overnight, that's the stuff you never saw coming. That's the stuff that changes the world. Now, COVID-19, coronavirus, we saw that coming a little bit. And personally, I don't trust them when it comes to how far spread the Ebola stuff is, or how bad the oil crisis is. I think they're both relatively could be possible avenues in which they bring about tyranny, but it can all be faked and puffed up and used in order to remove people's freedoms and erode people's freedoms away to be able to establish this system. But the establishment of this system nonetheless is the end game and the main goal, and creating a digital tracking system that the Bible calls the mark of the beast. And it plays into the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies, a hive mind. We've seen how frequency can affect thought and enrage people, make them violent. They're going to start turning everybody on each other like junkyard dogs. And I think they're working really hard at it already. And I think they've been successful to a certain extent. But I think they're implementing a greater control grid. And I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, I've seen this kind of stuff. We've seen movies like, Enemy of the State, right? Like where this control grid, monitors and surveils. And this stuff has been in secret for so long, but it's really right out in your face now. And that lets me know that they're going to use this on a mass scale because they're rolling it out. They're getting ready, just like, for instance, and I'm just putting it out there, right? They slowly and surely incrementalized homosexuality and then homosexual marriage. And then eventually it happened, it all got legalized federally speaking, right? And so they spoon-fed that slowly but surely. And now here it is in your face. And then, because there's some people that can't stay home when they do things that, are between two consenting adults. It's in your face. It's, they're going after the kids. They're doing this, they're doing that. You know what I mean? And it's a problem. Now there's even people that are gay, and I'm not judging anybody. I don't think it's right, but I'm not judging anybody. But I can tell you right now that there's people even in that community that can't stand what's happening. And so, again, the same way you have this incrementalization with that, I noticed, a few years ago, they started introducing the Army in the parades, the local parades. And there was Humvees. And then one year, then they put the machine gun on the turret on top. And then another year, they had the guys, holding the machine gun. So they're getting you slowly but surely used to, and I don't know who's calling the shots and incrementalizing this, but someone's incrementalizing this. There's someone that has a job, and their job is to, all right, we got to get society used to this. And I can't believe someone would do that to America. How anti-American of them. That there'd be someone actively working against the interests of the public of the United States of America when we're the ones that put these people into their positions of power, supposedly. We all know that they're just chosen, and that the Illuminati and Satan and all that stuff runs the show. But the reality is this is what it was supposed to be. This is what we're told. All right? And so it seems to me that we're approaching this climax, this apex of this situation that has been brewing for some time, and all the little angles that they're throwing at it to keep us distracted while they implement this system. And I clearly outlined kind of what it is. Not all of it. There's a lot of angles I did not cover, like the genetically engineered mosquitoes and ticks and just all this stuff, and all the different angles they're throwing at us. And I didn't even talk about the oil crisis today, really, and that hasn't changed a bit. They say, oh, we got peace talks and this and that, and blah blah blah, and we're cutting a deal soon, and blah blah blah. I'll believe it when we see it. But the damage has been done. The damage has been done. So it's going to affect prices. It's going to affect the way everybody lives. It's going to affect all of us, while the fat cat banksters of the world, run the show. All the little people like us suffer, and it's wrong. It's wrong and it's evil. But Jesus told us it was going to be like this in the last days. It doesn't shock me at all. I mean, and I'm definitely not scared of what's coming, but it's like, this is some scary stuff that's like, huge, abrupt changes to the way people live their daily lives. And again, slowly but surely, our freedoms are being eroded away and handed over to the system, and this beast system. And I'll tell you, and I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't care who this upsets, I've never seen anybody build it faster than Donald Trump. That's just that. I mean, I don't really have too many bones to pick with Donald Trump except for that, to be honest with you. He is fastly moving forward with a 10-kingdom government. He's helping whoever is behind this thing, whether knowing or unknowing. I've noticed this taking place. And you can't deny that these data centers are the foundation of this thing. The 5G towers are part of the foundation of this thing, and all the robotics and everything that's taking place and the drones and all this stuff, it's all beginning to pile up, and we're starting to see the dome that's going to be over America eventually. This control grid dome, kind of like that movie or that TV show Under the Dome. Perfect example. These people that are locked into their own little 15-minute city, you can't get out, you ain't going nowhere, and if you do, you're going to die. You know what I mean? So they're getting the mind of people used to this concept. Same thing with The Walking Dead. They got these cities, these little towns, these villages that they build, like Alexandria and all these different places, and they wall them off to the outside world, and everybody has to live in this confined area. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show. And a lot of the stuff, I got to mention, by the way, a lot of the stuff in Walking Dead is rather unrealistic as to how that situation would play out. But I don't believe zombies are real, but I do believe that eventually demonically possessed people and frequency affected people can become violent. People that could say have jabby and things get activated, if they have a certain type, because there's a lot of different serums that they administer, different batches and things like that. There will be a certain type that they just click on a frequency, and all of a sudden a person probably start foaming at the mouth trying to bite everybody around them. All right, I don't know about y'all, but that's the way I kind of see that whole thing. All right, but they want to bring about violence and bloodshed and all this stuff. The Red Rider is peace being taken away from the earth, that they should kill one another. All right, so there is a purge-like scenario coming, and there's a control grid scenario coming. They tell us eventually there will be another pandemic. They tell us eventually there's going to be a dystopian future. I mean, they're downright proud about it. So I'm just giving you the news. I'm just showing you on another level, with a little bit more proof. Like, hey, these roundabouts, they got plans for them, man. These robot dogs, they're using them. These drones, they're implementing them all across the United States to start policing U.S. citizens. All right, pay attention. You better start having your head up. A lot of people looking up, for this and that, and the rapture and stuff, but you better start looking up and seeing if drones are flying over your house at night or during the day and see, are they watching you? Are you their next target? I'm going to tell you right now, and it's been going on for a long time. They got a list of Americans, man, that they've been building up, and every click and everything you watch, everything you do, every bit of data shadow that you have on the internet is profiling you. All those cookies and all that stuff that every website you agree to, all these cookies and stuff, is analyzing you, breaking down everything about you, listening to you while you're in your own home, figuring out what you eat, what you fart, what you drink, what you sleep, what you listen to, what you watch, everything. All of it. All your choices. Everything is recorded and put in a folder with your name on it. And I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a let live list. And then there's going to be a kill list. Mark my words, there's going to be a kill list one day. And I have a feeling that they're going to use, because it's going to, when they finally move on all these assets that are put in place that are resistant against them, things like End Times Talk and other places where people are resistant to their structure, I kind of feel one day, they'll kick off the power, and then they'll let, different gangs and organizations and people and Masons and all these people cut loose and, go to the, different police, and military units or whatever, going and rounding these people up that will resist what's coming. I think that that'll be one of the first things they do in what comes next, is they're going to round people up that are against and what they have to say. They find any reason to do it. We see them come into people's houses, in Europe, and literally arresting people for their posts on Facebook. This is a prime example of people that are already on a watch list. They say the wrong thing, and then they get arrested for it, and that's over in Europe. But here's the thing, here in America, they're starting to implement that now. There was a guy that was resisting this whole data center thing that was happening in his area, and he was, getting a protest organized, and he was getting active about it because he wasn't going to have it in his area. And good for him. That is the American way to stand up against tyranny coming into place. All right, no matter who or what puppet that the Illuminati puts into place to try to sell you your tyranny. All right, the reality is this dude was standing up. And he's like, if this person that's, okay with these data centers really cared about the safety and security of his children, he wouldn't have a data center around, because he was meaning that, the electricity and the frequencies and the water usage and all the stuff, it's just bad for the environment. It's not healthy for humans to be around. We weren't meant to live like this. God did not design it to be like this. And then he got visited by the police in his area, all right, for supposedly making threats. You know what I mean? And all he was saying is and you can totally see where he's like, all I was meaning was that, these data centers make people sick. You know what I mean? These people don't even care about their own family. All they care about is that money, that greed. The love of money is the root of all evil. Let me tell you, folks. And so it's this, all this stuff is, all this stuff is moving in a fast fashion, towards this, beast system that Jesus told us about 2,000 years ago, almost 2,000 years ago. And, that's the real kicker to me, man, is that Jesus prophesied that this is what it was going to be like. The revelation of Jesus Christ given to John said that the Antichrist would cause all free and bond, rich and poor, to take a mark in the right hand of their forehead, that no man might be able to buy nor sell, lest he have the mark. And this is that system that the Bible foretold 2,000 years ago. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to stay close to Jesus in these last days. I might be a complete screw up, and I might be the worst candidate possible to be up here talking about this stuff and whatnot. I actually don't feel very highly of myself at all. Let me tell you, a lot of people judge me and act like I'm haughty and proud, or I'm self-righteous, or this or that. I'm none of those, dude. I feel so low about myself sometimes. I don't have good self-esteem. But I'll tell you right now, Jesus loves me, and Jesus saves me, and Jesus saves you. And you want to know what? We're going to get through this together, all right? We're going to stand strong together up until the bitter end, if that's what it's going to be. But I'm telling you, dude, yeah, we got promises. We got the promise that Jesus is coming to get his people. But, we also have a promise that Jesus is going to walk with us through the valley of the shadow of death no matter what. All right? So I take comfort in that no matter which way this goes, whether I live and go in the rapture, whether I die and I'm first in the rapture, I'm okay with whichever it is. But, man, I'll tell you, dude, this thing's getting implemented fast. And I pray that people will stick close to Jesus through this, because, you're going to need him to kind of give you a nudge in the right direction. Like, if you got to stop, be patient, wait upon the Lord. Okay. And then the Lord's, all right, now go, you know what I mean? Never make a move unless you consult the Lord. Never make a big life change unless you consult the Lord. I got friends that want to move away so fast, quick, and in a hurry, they hadn't even prayed about it yet. You know what I mean? And because people are heading for the hills. I've seen multiple people, while we're packing up and moving and heading for the hills, man, this is it. We're getting close. I understand that mentality, but don't move unless Jesus tells you to move. With that being said, Today's live's over with. May God bless you all. May he keep you. And please don't forget to go out and change this world in which you live.